What sort of things are you kind of looking for in athleticism, or maybe moving up from the 15 or down from the 5K, that makes you think that they might have potential to be a good steepler?
Um, I usually am a pretty good judge of talent on that.
On the track side of things, outside of the distance events, do you have a favorite event, either that you like to spectate and
mm.
or that you like to coach?
Well, I mean, on the track, I love to coach the steeple. I think it's because it's the only thing really technical that we can coach as a distance coach. I mean, um, I've had success with 800. I've had success with 10K, and I only got to do the steeple my last year, but I like the athleticism of it. So when we added the women's steeple my fifth year, my senior year, I was excited to do that. So coaching, I've had big success there. But as far as other events, shoot, the throws are awesome to watch. I love to watch um, I think throwers have a lot of similarities as distance athletes. It's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of grunt hard work. You're not necessarily in the limelight of a jumper over sprinter. So there's a lot of similarities there. I love the 400 hurdles. I mean, I just love track and field. I love everything on the track, and I like to be able to watch our athletes, even if I'm not necessarily involved in their actual training.
Coach, so you bring up the steeplechase, and I know Rich knows the question I'm going to ask, but for our listeners out there who see clips on Instagram or social media of people doing cannonballs into the steeplechase or all the steeplechase fails, what is the goal when you're going over that water barrier? You want to completely clear it, or you know you're not going to clear it? Do you want to set your foot on it? Just kind of let the listeners know kind of the ins and outs of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think anyone new to it, it has a little bit of a fear of failure with the water, but the water is actually your friend. So there's no benefit in spending a lot of time in the air. The better you are at attacking the barrier and getting one foot down, you're going to get the next foot out as quickly as possible. So people that sail and clear it, and I was never very good at the water pit. We didn't have um, a great setup on my track when I was training, and my coach was afraid of me getting hurt. And I had a lot of ex-basketball training with in my in my muscle memory of jump stops. So I was to getting one foot down and one foot out of the water was not easy for me. So, um, but I wasn't afraid of it. I just was probably landing a little bit further out than I should have. So, yeah, there's no benefit in spending a lot of time in the air. You want to get down and in and out.
Coach, it's a little different now coming from the high school. You get a little bit more eyes on kids at the high school level that are have some experience or maybe have dabbled in the steeplechase a little bit more maybe than when you were the first year that it was a sport or an event, I should say. When you're looking at athletes who don't necessarily have ever run a steeplechase, what sort of things are you kind of looking for in athleticism, or maybe moving up from the 15 or down from the 5K, that makes you think that they might have potential to be a good steepler?
Um, I usually am a pretty good judge of talent on that. I could look at their drills. There's in you'd be amazed at how many kids can't skip. Or if they're not very athletic in the weight room, if they can't skip, we know pretty quickly. I don't care how fast or strong you are, you're not going to be very dynamic on a barrier. And so and once in a while someone will surprise me. Or I have a young man this year that he also insisted for his first 2 years that he was an 800 runner. Had to convince him to move his mileage up. He wasn't. So I said last year, you can run the steeple or the 10 because you're not fast enough in the 15 and a 5. And he chose the 10. So I moved his mileage up, ran the 10. And then this year, his teammate said, he ran the 300 hurdles in high school. I said, I gave him the option. So this year I put him on some hurdles, and I think maybe last year's made him stronger and tougher. So it paid off, and um, he looked pretty good over hurdles. So he did surprise me. Typically, I can pick him out of drills and know pretty quickly if they're gonna be passive and we start doing some hurdle drills, basic hurdle drills, and then some basic runovers, and I see how athletic they are. So if someone's got a basketball background, that's great. Just a little bit of mobility. We just need athletes that can do a little bit more lateral or vertical movement and make some quick decisions. So cross country, I can see who looks athletic when they're running and who can make a move quickly in a pack. Others that just, they need a long line and they're going to be either they're fast enough in the 15.5 or they're going to be a 5.10 runner.
Coach, I teach high school PE, so I'm not amazed by the amount of people that don't know how to skip.
Yes.
Coach, you bring up that one athlete that you kind of had to work them into the steeple. Do you see it a lot where you see that the kids are athletic enough and there might be a fear of the barrier? And how do you kind of get over that fear? And are you training jumping over barriers on the reg during track season to get them used to that?
Yeah, in cross we don't touch any hurdles. We do hip mobility. We do hurdle mobility for just agility and recovery. But at the end of indoors, we'll put some hurdles up, especially for freshmen that are redshirting. Get some hurdles out, and everybody does just basic drills. Again, for you, whether you're an 800 runner or a 10K runner, having that hip mobility is great. So they do some basic drills, but then we start doing some skips and hurdles and usually I'll just set up a hurdle and I'll put it on the lowest level for the men and the women and have them just do a couple strides over it. And for them, it's just them being comfortable running over it and not jumping or stuttering. And usually we can figure it out within a 1 or 2 sessions pretty quickly. I've got one young man this year who is really pretty athletic, and I could have made him stick with it and we could have gotten him over it, but there was just a lot of stuttering and he's just got an engine. He's just going to be too good in the 5 and 10. And so I told him that it's like, we could work on this, but I don't want you stuttering until if we can't get that stuttering down, it's not going to do any good. And I'd rather have you be a workhorse on the track in that 5 and 10. And he agreed on that. So we'll see next year, because he just did it as a redshirt season, but we tried out some basic drills. So, but yeah, being tentative does not help. So we'll do hurdle drills, and then with the barriers, we'll put them out. Our track's been under construction, so last year we didn't have any access to our outdoor track. We're lucky that we do have an indoor track for the last 8 years. So when I was running, we didn't have that. And my first 10 years of coaching, we didn't have an indoor track. So now we can do drills, and then we'll put a barrier out and have them push off to practice. And then we can go up to the track now and put up some barriers to practice, just doing a stride over them. But if we're doing a workout, I don't want them touching a barrier. I don't want them being tired, especially at almost 8,000 feet. If they get tired and hit a hurdle, then they're probably safe. But we want as little contact with barriers until race day.